Okay, fine. I'll talk about New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is a Fallout game like no other. Not because it's bigger, not because it's prettier, and not because it runs well.
16 times the detail.
It's different because it actually commits. It commits to roleplay, it commits to consequence, it commits to letting you completely break it. Where Fallout 3 gave you a wasteland to explore, New Vegas gave you one that reacts. It brought back the series' roots, the politics, the philosophy, the difficult choices, and somehow, 15 years later, nothing has quite hit the same. So today, let's sit back, relax, and chat about why Fallout New Vegas still hits different. But first, we need a little context. It's 2008 and Bethesda has just dropped their newest game, Fallout 3. It's an absolute hit, and their best-selling game yet, but their next game, Skyrim, needed a little more time in the oven. It wasn't quite ready to be released 17 times yet, so Todd called in the help of Obsidian Entertainment, yes, that Obsidian, to help make a new game that would act as a stopgap between the 3 years between Fallout 3 and Skyrim. How times have changed. But this just wasn't any Obsidian. This Obsidian was stacked with developers from Black Isle Studios, the studio behind the original Fallout games. The people who shaped the tone, the politics, the identity, the very people who helped define what Fallout was. So what started as a stopgap became something else entirely. On paper it looked like just an expansion. Same engine, same assets, same framework, but under the hood it was a philosophical shift. Because New Vegas wasn't trying to outdo Fallout 3 at its own game. It wasn't trying to be bigger, prettier, or more cinematic. It was trying to bring something back. The West Coast setting, established factions like the New California Republic, moral grey areas, competing ideologies, a desert wasteland that felt less like a playground and more like a power struggle. And most importantly, it brought back a very specific philosophy. Classic Fallout wasn't about being the hero. It was about living with the consequences of your actions. So, while Fallout 3 gave you freedom to explore, New Vegas was built to give you freedom to choose. May not have been bigger, but it sure as hell was braver. So, sticking with the theme of New Vegas building on Fallout 3's framework, has the gameplay gotten any better? No, not really. I'm exaggerating a bit. New Vegas did add the genuinely game-changing feature of actually letting you aim down the sights, which I'm sure was completely impossible for Bethesda to put in Fallout 3. But then again, after Starfield, I'd be genuinely shocked if they actually remember how to make a game instead of put Loading Screen Simulator 2026. But that's besides the point. It's important to remember that Obsidian had only had about a year and a half to make New Vegas. Enough time to make a new game using an existing engine and assets, sure, but not enough to really revolutionise things much. So, we'll give them a pass. What we won't give them a pass for, though, is how awfully the game actually runs. Okay, Bethesda games are known for being buggy. Yeah, I know, haha, it just works. But this game will go from the usual Bethesda, it's not a bug, it's a feature jank, to running in about 3 frames per second, to making your PC sound like a fighter jet, to... But I digress. As long as you install some patches or play it backwards compatible on the Series X, sorry PlayStation players, you guys are just fucked, I guess, the game will run fine. And once you actually manage to get the game to function, the game is still a blast to play. Sure, the combat is mediocre, but the rest of the game is still super addictive, as everything around it, like the world and the quests and the characters, are still done perfectly. But that's old news. It's fun to shoot guys in the face. Yeah, it was in Fallout 3 too. What really sets New Vegas apart is its true emphasis on roleplay and world building. This isn't just a playground for you to stomp in. No, in New Vegas you truly are a part of a living, breathing world that genuinely reacts to what you do or say. In New Vegas you have to take genuine time and care into how you spec your character. This isn't Skyrim. You aren't the mythical Dragonborn who's good at everything. You're just some guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So you'll only have a very particular set of skills. Wait, in gameplay this translates to the level and perk system, which remains largely similar but has had a few tweaks done to it. We still have the classic special system, that isn't going anywhere, but oh look, it's kind of like a slot machine. That's totally not going to be a theme in a game with Vegas in the title. And we've still got skill points and perks too. Although, now you only get a perk point every other level, which I don't really mind, since it slows you down a bit and stops you from becoming the immortal Legion Killer 5000 too early. Though, let's be honest, it was going to happen anyway. And now they've completely revamped the speech system, meaning the likeliness of you passing a speech check will now change depending on what you're talking about and how skilled you are in that subject. Instead of the complete percentage dice roll it was in Fallout 3. God forbid they take gambling away from my video game the woke mobbers got into Fallout 2. See, that was a joke, because the game actually has fucking loads of gaps. So we see this all in full swing in the game's opening town, Goodsprings, which acts as a sort of miniature demo of the game as a whole. We've got plenty of unique characters to chat to, a tutorial on combat and crafting, a nice little robot fella that's totally not going to be important later, but what's most important is the game's first side quest, Ghost Town Gunfight. To whittle things down, the town is sheltering this guy named Joe Cobb from a gang known as the Powder Gangers, and you have to convince some townsfolk to form a resistance. It may seem like a pretty simple first side activity and kind of like that one episode of The Mandalorian, but this is actually the game's genius way of getting you accumulated with the skill checks and reputation system. The way you convince people to help you is by having enough points in a certain skill, like having enough points in medicine to convince Doc Mitchell to let you have some stim packs, having enough points in speech to help truly rally some of the townsfolk together, or having enough points in explosives to convince Easy Pete to let you borrow some of his dynamite. Because apparently, using explosives in the middle of a desert isn't safe. Bunch of bullshit. And whether you side with Goodsprings or the Powder Gangers, you'll gain a good or bad reputation with the game's first factions. And essentially, that's the game as a whole. You run around shooting things for people, do a few skill checks, and have to pick between a handful of factions to decide the fate of an area. So condensing this down a bit to a tutorial quest in a small town is a brilliant bit of foreshadowing. It's all a bit like how Ed basically explains the plot of the whole movie in the first few minutes of Shaun of the Dead. But beyond just the small town of Goodsprings, your choices do truly matter, and you'll feel the consequences of your actions later on, both good and bad. Like going back to that side quest in Goodsprings, if you go to the Crimson Caravan Company, where Joe Cobb works, he will run up to you and give you some money for helping him out back in Goodsprings. You'll probably be really confused too, since you're going to be about 15 hours into the game at this point and have completely forgotten who this guy is. Or the game will account for you being a murdering psychopath. Like if you kill Vulpes, however the fuck you say that second bit, after he speaks to you, the Legion messenger will tell you that Caesar has forgiven you for killing him when he gives you Caesar's invitation. And certain factions or groups will either love you or be fucking terrified of you.
Are you fucking kidding me? First I get my leg smashed, and then in walks the Powder Ganger's Grim fucking Reaper. What the fuck have you got your stuff, Smearing?
Being an RPG is more than just being a game with levels and perk points. It's about being a game with characters that truly react to what you do. In Fallout 3, the people of Megaton don't really change how they think about you, or how they speak to you, no matter what you do. Yeah, sure, you can blow the place up or disarm the bomb, but one just results in 90% of the town being dead, and the most annoying character in the town somehow surviving, and still not really having a problem with you doing this to her.
Well, okay, as long as you're sorry.
And the other just leads to some random NPC spawning in every now and then to give you things sometimes. New Vegas, however, truly reacts to what you do, making you feel like you're an actual character in its world, rather than just a spectator. Beyond just the mechanics though, Obsidian took real time into giving each of the main factions a true ideology, background and reason for being there. And they felt like tangible, real groups too. In Fallout 3, the Brotherhood of Steel was so overwhelmingly just the good guys, and the Enclave was so overwhelmingly just the bad guys, that it ended up just feeling a bit inauthentic. More like a cartoon than a living, breathing world. In New Vegas though, each faction has both their strengths and their drawbacks, with a true ideology. The NCR is a true bureaucratic democracy with all the flaws that entails. But they also provide a level of both safety and freedom. Caesar's Legion may just seem like the bad guys, because they are, but even though its subjects aren't free like those of the NCR are, their lands are renowned as some of the safest in the entire West Coast. Mr. House may just be a technocratic autocracy, but under him, New Vegas will completely thrive and become a beacon of commerce in the wasteland. And Yes Man will result in complete anarchy, absolutely, but the people will have true freedom. All of these factions have genuine levels of depth and are competing for the same area, with a choice of whoever comes out on top being all yours. These aren't just good versus evil factions, they're competing philosophies. That's depth. Nah, you know what? I'm bored. Let's just completely fuck up the Mojave. Oh, and look, you can still beat the game. Not because the game stops you from killing everyone or keeps specific characters as essential, but because the game anticipates you doing whatever you can to break it, not in that way, and has put in measures to still let you continue. So what you say and do actually matters. Ultimately, this is what sets New Vegas apart from so many other RPGs. New Vegas doesn't simulate choice, it commits to it. Much like how it commits to player freedom, it also commits to its world. Wow, I'm really getting good at these transitions, aren't I? Mechanics are one thing, but systems don't matter if the world around them feels fake. And this is where Fallout New Vegas really sets itself apart, because the Mojave doesn't just feel like a theme park, it feels occupied. Every location exists for a reason. Prim isn't just a starter town, it's a town struggling under NCR expansion. Novak isn't just that one place with a dinosaur, it's a community trying to survive between two growing powers. Freeside isn't chaotic because it's so weird and quirky, it's chaotic because New Vegas is hoarding wealth behind its walls. And then there's the vibe. The desert, the empty highways, the old world casinos clinging on. It all feels less like post-apocalyptic chaos and more like a frontier on the brink of civilization. It's dusty, it's tense, it's patient, which makes the chaos, when it does happen, feel earned. Oh, well, that and, well, cowboys are cool.
I got some jelly beans.
And that's why the Mojave works. It isn't just a sandbox, it's a power struggle. Every hill, every checkpoint, every faction outpost reinforces the same idea. You're stepping into something that was already happening. And unlike a lot of modern RPGs, the world doesn't revolve around you. You have to carve your place in it. And maybe that's why New Vegas still lingers. It's not the gunplay, it's not the graphics, and it's definitely not the performance. It's the feeling. The feeling that the world doesn't need you, but it will respond to you. That your choices aren't cosmetic, they're permanent. That when you pick a side, you're saying something about how you view the world. New Vegas doesn't try to make you feel powerful. It tries to make you responsible. And that's a rare thing. In a genre that slowly moved towards bigger maps, cleaner systems, safer choices, New Vegas trusted you. It trusted you to think, to fail, to live with it. And maybe that's why it still feels different. Because it doesn't protect you. It doesn't simplify itself for you. It doesn't pretend your decisions don't matter. It hands you the Mojave and says, alright, what kind of person are you? And 15 years later, we're still answering that question. Because war never changes, but how you fight it does. Thank you for watching.